Actually really common in America, not surprising, because when people experience an illness, they also experience stress. And so religion is actually really helpful because it gives hope, which helps assure us and relaxes us. So some points that he made was that spirituality has been known as a way to calm and reduce stress in patients. And people who are not necessarily religious have been recorded as seeing themselves as spiritual in some aspects. And I actually found this quote really interesting. He mentioned it towards the end of the article. It says, "In nothing do men more nearly approach the gods than in giving health to men." Cicero. And he goes through a whole bunch of studies, basically just to back his point. I think he goes over 60 different studies. And so in a study done at Duke University Medical Center, nearly 90% of medical patients consider themselves both religious and spiritual. And out of that 90%, I think 40% of them considered themselves, even if they weren't religious, they were willing to have that connection or have some religious aspect to their healthcare. And so he went over 4 ways that religion affects healthcare. So the first way is medical decision making. So another study was done at the University of Pennsylvania, and it reported that 66% of patients indicated that religious beliefs would influence their medical decision making, and 80% of this sample said that they would be receptive to inquiries about religious beliefs. So they'd be receptive to practitioners coming up to them and talking about their religious beliefs. Another thing that affects healthcare is the belief that the conflict with medical healthcare. So one example that they made was Jehovah's Witnesses not accepting blood products and, obviously abortion and suicidal assistance. So that kind of conflicts with beliefs. And some spiritual struggles that create stress and impair health outcomes. That was another reason. And disease detection and treatment compliance. So some people find stress whenever they're going through disease, obviously. So they ask, if they're Christians, they'll be asking, is God punishing me for past sins? Does God even care about me? Does God even have the power to make a difference? Has my faith community deserted me? So all these questions are running through their head. So those are just ways that religion really does affect healthcare. So as I was saying, yeah, more than 60 studies that he went through, he didn't go through all 60 of them, but he did mention some of them. But he's saying that 60 studies have examined the role that religion plays in helping patients cope with, a diverse number of symptoms like diabetes, arthritis, heart disease, lung disease, HIV, all these different diseases. So he was saying that one reason why religion has such a big connection in spirituality is because religion is so widespread in the United States, obviously particularly in the South. The second reason was that religion is so common among medical patients. People become ill, they experience stress, and they experience stress over the changes in life that illnesses cause. And so he goes through a number of points why religious beliefs and practices are associated with. So if you're religious beliefs and practices, they're associated with lower suicidal rates, less anxiety, less substance abuse, less depression, faster recovery from depression, greater well-being, hope, optimism, more purpose and meaning to life, higher social support, and greater marital satisfaction and stability. So there was another study done that before the year 2000, more than 700 studies examined the relation between religion, well-being, and mental health. Instead of documenting neurosis, nearly 500 of those studies demonstrated a significant positive association with better mental health, greater well-being, or lower substance abuse. So basically, all the studies that he's using is trying to prove the point that religion is necessary for health practitioners to understand and is a valid source of psychology that can be used to treat a patient. So reasons physicians don't regulate, our brain, it's so crazy. There was another study that I saw in a book that I'm reading on so there were two groups of people that basically cleaned hotels. One group, they remained constant in cleaning, so they were kind of the control group. They just kept cleaning. The other group, actually, people told them that when they're vacuuming, they are it's a form of exercise. They're losing calories, and they basically just listed everything that they're doing to and the ways it benefited them, their health. And so in the group that was controlled, they ended up, not really liking their job. They weren't that happy. They weren't that satisfied. But the group that understood what they were doing had meaning and significance to their body, they actually were happier in their job. But not only that, they lost weight and they lowered their cholesterol levels, which is so crazy because the brain has so much power over like they literally lost weight, and the only thing that changed was the knowledge that they had. So that was another crazy study. I'm not really sure. I didn't cite that because obviously that's in a book that I'm reading. It's not from this article, but that just came to my mind. So, reasons why physicians don't regularly address spiritual issues, they're either unaware of reasons time, energy should be expended to address spiritual issues. They don't feel comfortable. They don't feel like they have time. They are concerned about overstepping boundaries. And I feel like it should be part of healthcare, part of medical training to understand